Many thanks again for rejoining us on our special coverage of the August protest, which of course has commenced in several cities across the Federation. We're joining our Lagos Bureau Chief, Abuja Ikhoria, who is already standing by to give us an update in Lagos. We'll have him on in a bit. We'll also be joined by Dr. Mohammed Mustafa Yahya, who is the Executive Director of Dispute Resolution and Development Initiative. Will be joining us from Lagos. And we're also expecting Prince Kazim Afegboa, a chieftain of the APC, will be joining us as well virtually. But let's get started with Abuja Ikhoria, who's been sending us feeds from Lagos. Ikhoria, good morning and thank you for joining this special coverage. What's the situation in Lagos right now? We're saying that people are out and the security agencies, particularly the police, they are also out. What is the situation in Lagos?
Yes, of course, this morning we saw some of the protesters right here under the bridge at Ikeja, one of the areas that so many persons had said that possibly it will not be possible for these protesters to get to today, following court orders yesterday that was released yesterday morning. Of course, the protesters are right here on the ground, taking control of what is happening under the bridge. But the Commissioner of Police, Lagos State, is right here on the ground with his men, trying to do all what he can to ensure that it's peaceful. And he is saying that they relocate to the designated area through the court order for this process, which of course is the Peace Park and the Freedom Park here in Lagos. But they are insisting that the court cannot tell them where to make their protest, how to go about their protest, so long the protest is peaceful.
Okay, the protesters went against the court order on the venue for the protest. We recall that the Freedom Square, I believe, was the designated place. What is the response level of the protesters to this situation? Has it been peaceful so far?
Yes, of course, it has been peaceful, except for some individuals who came while they were protesting to say that they don't have the right to come and protest. They should go home and protest in their homes. But the police, under the leadership of the CP, was able to calm the situation and put it under control. It has been peaceful since about 7 a.m. when this protest started right here at Ikeja under the bridge. But the situation also at the other side, at the other end of the protest, at the Peace Park, there are some other protesters right there. But
all right.
It's peaceful so far here under the bridge at Ikeja.
Okay, how would you describe the turnout for this protest? Because there have been some conflicting reports, with some saying the protests have been postponed to October. How would you describe the turnout so far?
Of course, the turnout for this protest, as compared to other protests, is not that much, because like we used to know under the bridge, when there is protests like this, like you can see behind me, you see much of the protesters and civil society organizations, members, but some members of civil society organizations expect to have seen this morning. We are not seeing them on the ground. We are seeing few of them on the ground here. The numbers is relatively not too high, but I think the protest is attracting participation from other members of the public and residents who were just passing by, going about their duties, joining up in the protest. But so far, so good. It's been peaceful.
Abuja Ikhoria, thank you very much for your time. We'll keep tabs with you for more updates much later in our special coverage of the August protest, which of course has commenced. Some live feeds coming from Lagos. We'll take you now to Kano State, where Dr. Mohammed Mustafa Yahya, who is the Executive Director of Dispute Resolution and Development Initiative, is also joining us virtually to give us insight into what's happening in Kano, particularly some of the feedback that has been coming in the last couple of days, particularly from the northern part of the country where we've seen rejection of the protest or outright withdrawal. Many of the governors, some of the governors in the northern part of the country have withdrawn from the protest. But I asked myself one fundamental question. Were they the ones originally organizing this protest? To the best of our knowledge, this protest has been organized by some youths across the federation, as it were. So when we hear governors saying they are not interested, or they are pulling out, or they are not part of it, you're wondering, were they originally part of it? Let's talk to Dr. Muhammad Yahya, joining us now from Kano. Doc, good morning. Doc, good morning. Thank you for joining us on this special coverage of the August protest. Good morning. A bit of a technical challenge. A beautiful challenge. You muted your mic. Just unmute your mic so we can hear you, Dr. Mustafa. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Thank you. Thank you very much. So good to have you here. And thank you so much for your patience. I know you've been on the line for over 20 minutes just for us to have this conversation. We truly appreciate this. Please give us your perspective. What is happening in Kano State? What is the reaction? Many or some of the governors in the north are withdrawing and pulling out, saying they are not interested, they are not a part of these protests. But how are the youths taking this situation? We can barely hear you. I'm sure it's a technical problem that will be sorted out. Maybe you need to look at the audio connection so we can have a very robust and meaningful conversation to get insight into what is happening in Kano State as far as this August protest is concerned. But we saw a while ago from Lagos, people are on the street, and the police has been very civil, helping to coordinate them, even though there seems to be a clear-cut deviation from the court order restricting the protesters to the Freedom Square. But they are right now on the bridge at Ikeja, which wasn't a designated center. But let's quickly have Prince Kazim Afegwa is joining us virtually as well from Benin City. Prince, good morning. Thank you for joining this special coverage of the August protest. Always a delight to have you on the program.
Good morning.
Okay. Well, yeah, we're seeing feats coming from the field as it relates to the protest, particularly in Lagos State. The crowd is not that much so far, but the fundamental thing that we're seeing people coming out in line with the August 1st D-Day, as it were. Let's get your take on this. We're also having a bit of an audio challenge. Okay, yes, go ahead. Go ahead. Yes, go ahead. I'm asking. We've been following some of the happenings in different places, particularly in Lagos. The response has been quite interesting. But we've seen that the protesters are under the bridge, which was in the designated center, based on the court order restricting them to the Freedom Square. What do you make of this as a major issue coming from Lagos?
Well, for me, I've always said it repeatedly that there are other avenues to ventilate anger and draw government's attention to the plight of the people, rather than going out and protest. And the reason is clear. Lagos economy is the biggest in the country, is the largest in the country, even in Africa. And so if you shut down Lagos for one day, you know how much you are losing. If you shut it down for 2 days, you know how much you are losing. So the whole idea of protest is to draw government attention to our plight. But when we kill the economy by ensuring that Lagos is shut down or elsewhere, other states' economy are shut down, we are still going to, we are contributing to the economic problems that we are trying to run away from. And don't forget, where will you expect government to get resources when you shut down the economy? Where will you have individuals who are private sector driven? How will they make their money to also live a life that they have chosen for themselves. So we need to be logical in ventilating our anger. It is, people are saying it, people have the right to protest. Nobody is saying that. But when you want to protest and you hear government talking to the issues you are raising, you need to have some level of caution, so that you don't throw away the baby with the bathwater. We have the right to be angry, things are bad and all of that. But you can't kill an economy and you expect prosperity. You can't kill an employer because you want to help the employee. What you do is to balance the factors and the logic of employer-employee relationship. In this case, there's hunger, there's poverty, there's this and all of that. People have said all manners of things. But again, if you close down the economy, is that how you are going to get solution? My answer will be no. So people may be going out in Lagos, converging on the bridge, uh, go to other places and all of that. The bottom line must be understood that it's all about economy. If at the end of the day the protesters become uncontrollable, then there will be destruction.
Okay.
If there's destruction, the
Yeah.
money we are complaining that we don't have to fix infrastructure, we will now be having multiple challenges on our hands to
Okay.
fix
So
infrastructure
you're
that
saying
remains
in effect,
unfixed.
that many of the governors, some of the governors who have dissociated themselves from this protest, they are justified by this action.
To provide security and ensure that there's peace and tranquility in the state. But some of the governors are also not thinking outside the box. I was reading a statement this morning credited to the Edo State government saying that the APC are the one who are insisting that they are going to protest in Edo August 1, that is today. How can APC be protesting against itself when the federal government is led by APC? So those kind of propaganda that don't make any logical sense are the kind of things we don't want to see. You see, there's a responsibility on the part of governors and government of states to ensure that there's peace and tranquility. If the federal government has taken some initiative to say, okay, this is what we are trying to do, we want to have designated areas where they sell rice at so price, where we are giving 20 trucks of rice to some states and all that. By now, we expect some of them because they've received them. But in Edo, they are keeping them in their warehouses. So the point is, if there is peace and stability, it is only under such an atmosphere you can carry out your policies implementation. Only in such an atmosphere you can even go out to say you want to fix decayed infrastructure and roads. But if there is crisis, for example, you say 10 days, let's say Edo State, there's no business for 10 days, that everywhere is shut down because people are afraid to come out or whatever. Don't you know how much impact negatively that will have on our economy? Don't you know how much we'll be losing per day? So it is not the euphoria of going for protests may be a motivation for some idle minds. But
Okay.
the long short of it is that the concomitant effect will be so palpable
Okay.
if the one
Prince.
protest have an issue.
Okay, so
Yes.
we're also getting some live feeds from the King Square in Benin City where some protesters are out, and we'll be having Patience Ogua, who is following this event in Benin City, to join us shortly to make some contributions to the conversation. I'll be back with Prince Kazim Afegba in a moment, but let me quickly have a conversation with Dr. Mohammed Mustafa Yahya, who is joining us from Kano State. We have a bit of a technical hitch. We hope to be able to reconnect with him in a moment. But let's get back to Prince Kasim Afegba. Prince, we are here right now with the protest. And one of the critical things is that why does it only seem like government is never proactive in dealing with these issues? I mean, since the present government came on board, the complaints have been that there's hunger in the land, inflation is at its rooftop, and it's influencing and affecting every sector of the economy. With all these complaints coming, not much of action was taken to deal with the issue of fuel price increase, which was the major trigger for this situation? Why does it always seem like government waits for these things to happen before they take action? Doesn't it explain the reason why some people believe that government always like it when the people take a very drastic approach before they respond to issues?
Well, I don't think government government is not responding to the issues. There are issues that will take a time for them to mature. There are policies that when you have short term, medium term, and long term policies and all of that. There are quick wins. Government will naturally sit back, think outside the box to generate policies that can mitigate hardship in the polity. But Nigeria is not an isolated country. All over the world presently, if you take a critical look at most economies, they are going through challenging times. It is not a reason to say that we too should be going through challenging times, but it is just the fact that there has to be a more communicatory approach to some of the issues, and so that people can understand position of government. You talk about the fuel price and all of that. When the subsidy issue was removed, the government stated categorically that there will be challenges, but the challenge, in a measured. If you are producing, if they are going to provide vehicles to ease transportation, if they are going to provide all amenities, whatever, to help the hardship, government, it will require time for government to be able to produce some of these items. I give you a typical example. The monthly allocation to states has increased since the subsidy removal. And the expectation will be that there will be a corresponding performance from the state government level across the federation. If Edo State was receiving 3 billion before, and now they are receiving 12 billion, 13 billion monthly, the expectation will be that they will generate ideas, policies, and programs that will mitigate the hunger and the poverty we're talking about. But we seem to be looking at the federal government as an ombudsman, as the one and only government, whereas states and local government have a greater responsibility to address issues at the local level. But a lot of these governors don't perform. And I say this with all due sense of responsibility. They collect this money, you don't see a corresponding performance at the state level. So the burden is heavy on the federal government. So for me, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead. I can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead.
Yes. So for me, I would rather say that the government at the state level should also wake up to complement the effort of the federal government. The government at the local government level should wake up to complement the action of the state government. There are policies that have been put in place in the last 3 months that if we follow them through, there will be a leeway to escape this hunger and poverty.
Okay.
Now that the federal government has intervened on the Dangote issue, we're expecting that along the line that fuel price will come down. Now there have been student loan has been set up, and students can now access loans. There have been other policies put in place by government that will require time for them to think. So going on the street will further kill the economy. We must take note of that, because when people are not working, you are not working, other people are not working, you are not allowing people to work, that the fact that you are protesting does not mean another person who doesn't want to protest does not have a right. So we both have rights. Where your right stops, another person's right begins. So I am just advocating that people must understand the temperament of protest and
Prince, I'll come back to you in a moment. Let me just quickly get an update from Patience Susagua, our correspondent, who is following this event in Benin City to quickly give us insight into the situation in Benin City as it relates to this August protest, which of course is commenced nationwide across the country. Pat, Patience Osagiwa, just hold on a second. Can you quickly talk to us on where you are right now and what's the situation with the protest? Yes, good morning. Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead, Pat. Go ahead. Patience Osagiwa, you are live. Go ahead. Talk to us. Where are you right now and what's the situation in Benin?
Kings Square at Ring Road. We have the coalition of civil society groups here. But so far, the protest has been peaceful.
Okay, fantastic. Can you get to any of the protesters so we can have some conversations with them? I saw just a few of them some few minutes ago. I saw the president of Network for Civil Society. I saw Comrade Roy Oribabo. Can you have access to these people so we can quickly have a short conversation with them? Okay, so Pat, while you are on that, can you talk to us about the level of turnout so far for this protest? Okay, we're just having a bit of a challenge to have Pat talk to us. But let me quickly link up with Chris Omigye, is live with us in Ekpoma. Chris, talk to us. What's the situation in Ekpoma right now as far as this protest is concerned? Chris, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, go ahead. So what's the situation? These are live pictures from Ekpoma. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, this is the situation as at now at the Market Square, Ekpoma, where policemen are in strategic places to ensure there is no breakdown of law and order. All shops in the ever-busy Market Square, Ekpoma, are locked with the apprehension, with the fear that the protest might break out.
Okay, how would you describe the level of turnout? From the pictures we are seeing now, Market Square is literally empty. Okay, we've lost contact with Chris, correspondent from Edo Central there, but we can see that the streets are relatively, the streets are empty, and then of course he just told us security agents are strategically located to ensure that.
Can I come back?
Okay, yeah, Chris, go ahead, yeah.
Can I come back, please?
Yes, go ahead,
okay,
go ahead,
sorry,
talk to us.
We have a very bad network here. The shops are locked, as I said. Then the organizers of the protest said it will still go on. It's even now they are setting up their instruments to ensure that the protest hold and the protest is well organized, that they are trying to ensure no vandalism, no breakdown of law and order, no hijacking of the protest. Dr. Jude Obasami just told me that they went to the police station to ensure that everything is watertight, the security is watertight, and no evasion by hoodlums. That is what they are trying to do. All the people concerned for the protest are around. The policemen are around in strategic places to ensure that nobody hijacks the protest. They are still getting ready, warming up to start the protest. For now, it has not started.
All right, Chris, thank you so much for that update. We'll reconnect now with Patience Osagiwa, who is at King's Square. Patience, thank you again for rejoining us. We want a station where we could have short conversation with some of the leadership of the protesters. Can you establish that now, or you have more to tell us about the situation on Ring Road, particularly as it relates to the level of turnout, the level of participation so far? Patience. Okay, we lost that input from Patience Osagiwa again, but okay, we've got some back. Hello, Patience. Yes, quickly talk to us. Yeah, what's the situation now at King Square? Yeah.
The situation situation here right now, we have a joint task force of security personnel at the perimeter Pink Square right now, who includes the police and the NSCDC.
Okay, do we have access to any of the organizers of the protest? Can you have access to them so we can talk with them?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I have Emmanuel Obidi here, one of the civil society leader.
Okay. So let's talk to Emmanuel Ogbedi. Comrade Emmanuel, thank you for joining us on this live coverage of the August protest. How are you doing today? Of course, a whole lot is happening simultaneously at the King Square with heavy presence of security agents to ensure. Yes, comrade, good morning. Talk to us quickly.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. We can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead, Comrade Emmanuel Ogbidi. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Comrade Ogbidi Emmanuel. As you can see behind me, you can see a large crowd of Nigerians, concerned Nigerian citizens, out here today to express their displeasure, to send a clear signal and a clear message to the Nigerian government, ably led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And the demand of the Nigerian people today, echoing from Edo State, Benin City, Nigeria, is very clear. We are saying that never again should our crude oil be refined outside the soil of Nigeria and import refined products. The crude oil in Nigeria must be refined by the refineries in Nigeria. Therefore, we are also saying that all our political class must be placed on minimum wage. No more looting, no more starvation for Nigerian people. We are also saying, as a matter of urgency, that we must end insecurity that have brought about the hardship and food insecurity in the land. Our farmers can no longer go to farm. Yet we have a government who is supposed to be responsible for the security and life and welfare of Nigerian people. We are also saying, as a matter of urgency, that the Nigerian government must revalue the naira. The devaluing of our naira is illegal, it is unconstitutional, and it is inimical to the Nigerian people.
Okay. Okay, let me just cut in there, Comrade Man. Let me cut you there for a moment. We're seeing heavy presence of security agents. Can you talk to us the level of cooperation with the security agents so far, based on what's the level of interaction so far?
Sorry, I can barely hear you.
Yes, are you getting maximum cooperation and collaboration from security agents?
Come again, please.
What's the level of cooperation and support from security agents? The CP said yesterday is going to give civil society sachet water and sweets. Have you gotten your sweets and sachet water?
Okay, if I get you correctly, I think you are trying to ask me about how the organization of the protest and the dimension is taken. In Edo State, we are not protesting for 10 days. We are protesting for 3 days, and we believe it is enough to send a clear message to the Nigerian government. And the modality of our protest, we are not going to be marching the streets of Edo State. Our movement is going to be restricted from 9 p.m. to 4 p.m. So if you are not a protester, please, you can also sit at home as a way of protesting. We encourage people workers to boycott their offices. We encourage a business owner to shut their shop so that hoodlums will not take advantage of this protest to loot their properties. So within the hours of 8 a.m., 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. daily, they are going to, those who are interested should join the protest, and those who are not can sit back at home as part of observing the protest. And from 4 p.m., the security agency is well alerted that the protest has ended. Anybody doing anything outside this time is not a genuine protesters.
All right, Comrade Ima Ogbidi, thank you for the views and the perspectives you shared with us on this special coverage of the August protest. Thank you very much. We hope to reconnect with Patience Osagua, who is following up with this coverage much later. We're also expecting Abuja Ikwaria to join us again from our Lagos Network Center and contribute more to this. So we have Christopher Omije joining us from Ekboma. Earlier, he spoke to us about the level of preparation. Chris, give us an update on the situation now. Let's know if we can reconnect, if we can connect with Dr. Jude Obasemi, who is one of the organizers in Ekboma, as far as this protest is concerned. Chris, thank you.
Okay, let me connect with Jude now. Jude is around with some to map out modalities about how to make the protest a peaceful. Dr. Basam is with you.
Okay.
If you want to talk to.
All right, let me quickly talk with Dr. Jude Obasami. Dr. Jude, thank you for joining this live coverage. Yes. So talk to us about the situation in Ekboma. We're saying that preparation is still ongoing. This is past 9. Why is your preparation coming so late? And what is the level of response so far, Dr. Jude?
Okay. He said, why is your preparation coming so late and this is 9?
Okay, no, we agreed on the time to start, and we agreed that by 9 o'clock, definitely we are going to start with our engagement to create awareness. So we are not starting it late. We are doing too many activities, trying to talk with other stakeholders. At least all of us must come out and join in this. So we are not starting late. The time is like committee members, all of them are gathering momentum to join in this engagement. We are demanding that the government should allow Nigerians to breathe. They should allow Nigerians to breathe for once. The hardship in the land is too much, and there's no conscious effort or move or policy by government to make sure that the people suffer less. Every day, government comes up with different policies, and that's why we are saying that enough is enough, and we must begin to end bad government at all levels of administration in our country.
Okay, Dr. Jude, we know that this protest from day one, we're told that it's going to last for 10 days.
They are well prepared.
Yes. Is there a plan to have that done in Ekboma, or you're restricting it to 3 days?
That is not hijacked. That is their major concern. Thank you very much.
All right, Chris, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's see if we can re-establish connection with Prince Kazim Afegboa as we distill all of these information coming into play as far as this protest is concerned. Prince, many thanks again for your patience. Thank you so much for joining this special coverage of the August protest. We're seeing a lot of feedback coming from the street or from the field, particularly with the initial plan from 10 days being reduced to 3 days in Benin City. We heard that loudly from one of the protesters. I'd like to get your take on this quickly.
Well, I listened to Imam Ogbidi very carefully.
Okay.
And you see, part of the problem I personally have with it was captured by him. You give it directly to people that they should stay at home if they don't want to come out and observe the protest from their homes. He doesn't have that kind of power. Under the Constitution, as much as the protesters have a right, to free assembly and free association, so also those who are not protesting also have a right to move to anywhere they want to move to, freedom of movement. So you don't restrict people at home because you are protesting, and you are saying that they should stay at home as their own way of observing the protest. That's a wrong assumption. He doesn't have that power under the Constitution. The Constitution protects both the protesters and the non-protesters. Where your right stops, another person's right begins. That's one. Secondly, preventing people who hold their jobs and not working today, tomorrow, and Saturday. You can imagine the quantum of economic loss that will be. There are people who work daily and they earn daily for their own sustenance. So what you are telling them is for 3 days, they're not going to earn any kobo, any money, and at the end of the day, you expect them to also be happy. That's also missing the point. So he talked about revaluing the naira. If you want to give a vent to your naira or your currency, what you do is to ensure that there is increased productivity, production that can fetch you foreign income, the dollar. But if you are not producing exportable commodity that can be a foreign income spinner, then you don't expect that the naira will pick up almost immediately. So once we're able to address our minds to the issues, we also begin to understand the temperament around all of these issues and be able to advise our people, accordingly. The economic solutions don't take immediate impact all over the world. And there are cases where economic solutions are oftentimes a trial and error scenario. If you put 10 economists into the room to generate solutions to Nigerian problem, to a Nigerian economic problem, they are going to generate 10 different positions. Some of them may interlap, may overlap, and all of that. So what I'm saying in essence is that there has to be an understanding that when government policies are rolled out, they take time for them to mature, for us to begin to see the impact. Like Jude Obasanjo, who was speaking in Ekpoma, I haven't seen a situation where there was a protest over the deplorable condition of Ambosali University under the state government as we speak. I haven't seen that. There are people from Ambosali University who say they have not received salary for 25 months, some for 15 months, some for 20 months. Why is that so? Why have they kept quiet? Is that federal government issue? So we must order our priorities and also know where the shoe pinches and know those who are making the shoe to pinch us in those places. The point must be made that state government oftentimes are contributing to the problems we're having in this country. The federal government gave palliative money about 7 billion to Edo State last year. They also gave 10 billion to support insecurity and security concerns across the states. We are not seeing the results. So when state government collects more allocation from federal government and we don't interrogate them, we don't ask questions on how they are spending this money, it becomes a problem. So it is convenient for people to go on the streets to protest in Benin, King Square, well organized, fine. But again, you are killing the economy of the Edo, of the local people. You are killing the economy of the Ekoma people. If there's anything happening in Auchi, you are killing the economy of the Auchi residents. And there are people who the poor woman who fries akara in the morning and all that. That may be the only thing she can do to make money for that day. If you prevent her for 3 days not doing that, you can imagine what that will mean in her own life and the sustenance of her own family. So you can protest, but for God's sake, let us apply caution. If you protest 1 day, it's enough. But if you are protesting 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days and all of that, you are killing the economy, which you are also telling government to improve upon. How do you improve upon an economy?
Prince, we're here now. The protest has commenced. From what Comrade Man said a while ago, they're planning to hold on for 3 days. We don't know what other protesters are planning in Lagos and other places. But let's get your perspectives on your expectations from the federal government, because this protest basically is against hunger, is against bad governance, particularly from the perspective of the organizers, based on what the federal government has initiated in terms of policies, programs, and how these policies and programs are affecting the populace. What's your candid advice? Now we're here. We heard about plans to have dialogue. I'm wondering why talks about plans to have dialogue now when we could have done that much earlier. The planning, the preparation, the messaging, the mobilization, the conscientization they've all been ongoing until today, which is the D-Day. We're hearing these things.
Well, government is an organized indulgence, and leadership is not haphazard. Leadership is planned, leadership is organized, and leadership is methodical. You don't talk to the mob. You don't come out and say because you're a government you want to do address the mob. There are people who are not ready to listen, no matter how much information you give them. They've made up their mind and all of that. That is one. Secondly, government for the past 1 week has been they've been talking and talking and talking. So the other people their voices are lost in the crowd. People are not ready to listen. They just want to do this protest and all that. There are others who also have the ulterior motive that there should be a regime change. And this is a democracy. We want to protect and guide our democracy jealously. And the point of making of, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go on.
The point of reducing the day to 3 days, that's okay, that's good. But I'm just saying that head of tape, I can hear noise at the background. It was also
No, just go on. We can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead, Prince. Go ahead. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if they reduce to 3 days, fine. But I'm just saying that the overriding interest will be how to advance the cause of the people. Not to complicate things, because there are a lot of people who a daily engagement for their to earn a living. So if they are going to 3 days, fine. But I know that the government is going to come out to speak to the city, but they require policy framework, they require communication, they require dialogue, constructive engagement, collective bargaining, and all of that.
All right, Prince Kazim Afegbua, many thanks for joining us on this special coverage of the August protest against hunger and against bad governance. Thank you so much for your time. We truly appreciate you. Well, that has been Prince Kazim Afegbua, the media director, APC Campaign Council, Edo State, sharing his views and perspectives on the August protests based on some of the feats that are coming in. We're trying to re-establish connection with Aigboje Ikworia from our Lagos studio so we can talk more about the situation in Lagos, because Lagos is the center of excellence and seems to be a major factor as far as instances like this are concerned. We're seeing clear-cut civil disobedience to a court order restricting the protesters to Freedom Square, but they are under the bridge in Lagos, and they are insisting that the courts can't tell them where and how and when to carry out their protest. Interestingly, the police have also been very civil. They've coordinated themselves, conducted themselves in a very civil manner to ensure that these activities go on peacefully. Whether we like it or not, the police or the security agencies, the protesters, we are all working together for a common cause, except that we have different views and perspectives towards it or towards attaining it. And so we must all work together to make a bold statement as to our views, our feelings, our perspectives on the state of the nation and the need for the government of the day to swing into action, both at the federal, at the state, and the local government level. I'm sure we have Aigboje Ikworia now. Ikworia, good morning once again. Thank you very much. You're doing a yeoman's job helping us to make sense of what is happening in Lagos as far as these protests is concerned. Tell us exactly where you are and what's the situation. We can see behind you some security agents and the streets are quite empty. What's the situation where you are?
Yes, of course. Right now, the protesters, they are moving, like you can see behind me. They are moving from Ikeja on the bridge towards Alausa along the expressway to Alausa Secretariat, where you have the seat of power in Lagos State. Of course, there was dialogue between the protesters and the security agents on the ground, led by the CP, who came and discussed with them and told them that there was need for them to be peaceful and civil in their protest. Now, the police is giving them security, adequate coverage, while they march down to Alausa Secretariat, where you have the seat of power in Lagos State.
Fantastic. Would you describe, would you say that the turnout so far is better than what we saw much earlier today?
Yes, of course, Sonny Duke. The number is gradually increasing, and some other persons that were onlookers while it started are beginning to join the protest. The number is increasing. Like we saw when they started, where we had just few persons protesting. But right now, we like you can see behind me, that the number has actually increased from the fewer number of persons and protesters that we had from civil society members.
There's a talk now that the civil society group are saying that from the 10 days plan initially, they're probably looking at 3 days for this protest or even a day. Do you have access to such information?
No, of course, they have not actually here in Lagos say they are going to protest for certain numbers of days. But of course, they said they are just starting the report.
A bit of a network glitch there. Abuja Horia is our Lagos Bureau Chief, updating us on what's happening in Lagos with the August protest. We can see that the movement is massive, and from the Ikeja under bridge, they're moving to Alausa, the seat of power, perhaps to register their views, their grievances, and we hope that it stays this way. The security agents so far, it may be too early to perhaps commend them, but so far so good. They've conducted themselves in a very civil, cordial manner, which is expected because in other civilized climes we see that happening. They are escorting and guiding the protesters in their movement from under the bridge. I strongly believe that the point of crisis would have been the fact that there's a court order restricting the protesters to certain areas. But this morning, they started out the protest under the bridge in Lagos, in Ikeja. And the police were there, led by the Commissioner of Police. And they had a very cordial, meaningful, friendly conversation. And today, or right now, we're seeing them moving from Ikeja to Alausa, and it's peaceful so far. So we want to appeal to them that we stay this way, or they stay this way, ensuring that they are peaceful all the way and ensure that no life is lost, no property is destroyed. Like I was saying a while ago, that irrespective of the views or perspective that we share, we all believe in the development and progress of Nigeria. We all want this country to move forward. If we have a better country, a secured country, a prosperous country, security agents will enjoy, they will live better lives. The youths who are organizing this protest will certainly live a better life. Workers will live a better life. The market women, everyone will certainly have his or her own fair share of the country and live a better life. But let's just give you an update on some of the stories that are coming forth. We will be updating you much later in our first news broadcast in this protest, where we're seeing some couple of protests here and there as far as this incident is concerned. Well, still on our special coverage of the August protest, coming to you live on the ITV network. We hope to re-establish connection with our Abuja network studio, so we'll be able to give you some insight into what is happening in Abuja. If Abuja is ready, let's quickly link up with Abuja. Now, Victor Ogani, quickly talk to us about the situation in Abuja, in terms of the level of participation. Tolu, good morning once again, and talk to us. What do we have from Abuja as far as the protest is concerned?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Solomon, right there, for joining us right here. From the Abuja Network Studio, there have been pockets of protest here and there. So this morning, we're at the front of the Abiola Stadium right here in the capital territory, but in large number, probably numbering about 30 people gathered, and they are talking about protesting or not destroy properties and stuff like that. And also earlier as of this morning, Senior Correspondent Karata to the airport, where is going into activities, and passengers seem to be going about their normal business, trying to see how event things will look like. So people going about their normal right there the airport road. And we have reporters across the front of the Federal Capital Territory, monitoring activities and also giving us some feedback from the area of Federal Capital Territory right there. Some short videos of events unfolding in different parts of the Federal Capital Territory. No, they are.
Tolu, in a moment. I'll come back to you in a moment, Tolu, in a moment. Let me quickly have Victor Gani. Victor, good morning. Thank you for joining this live broadcast. Victor is one of our correspondents from our Abuja Network Studio. Victor, talk to us. Where exactly are you in Abuja, and what's the situation?
Okay, now I am at Eagle Square, the nation's foremost square. That is in the Federal Capital Territory, sandwiched between, let's say, National Assembly and, of course, the SGF. That is the point I'm talking to you from now. It's also located very, very close to the Federal Secretariat, and that's where the protest is supposed to be happening. And, of course, it is happening, but very light. And you can hear some noise at the background. Solidarity songs, being chanted, placards carried. They are bearing different inscriptions, and security men addressing the protesters. They are saying there's hunger in the land, a lot of things going skyrocketingly high, and they are calling on the. You can hear the songs, at the background, can't you?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. We anticipate a situation where there will be protest and counter-protest based on some of the comments coming from the FCT Minister, Ayesom Wike. Is that happening?
Well, as we speak, there is nothing like counter-protest right now. The only thing that is visible here is the fact that this place is supposed to be more crowded than it is, but perhaps because of the warning issued by the FCT Minister that the place is not giving out for protest, the crowd here is very, very light. But as far as counter-protest is concerned, there's nothing like that going on at the moment. What we have seen is, or what we see now is, people that are saying, okay, we need change. But as for counter-protest, nothing like that for now.
All right, Victor Gani, many thanks. We hope to keep tabs with you and get more updates subsequently. Let me quickly have Victory God's Plan, who is also following up this protest from our Benin Network Studio. Victory, good morning. Thank you for joining this broadcast. Share with us where you are right now and let us know what's the situation. Victory, go ahead.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning, Victory. Go ahead. Where exactly are you? And let us know what's the situation. Yeah.
Okay, we are very close to UBTH at Lasuka. So there are protesters here currently. The roads are blocked. There is no going and coming. The roads are totally blocked. And then there are placards. There are flying placards around saying no to bad government. So the roads are totally blocked. And there are so many persons here protesting.
Okay, Victory. Thank you so much for that update. Thank you. Okay, Moa is blocked. So if you have anything you're probably doing on this axis, you have to look for alternative routes so you don't get caught in the web of the protest. We got that report from Victory God's Plan.